Oakland, and welcome to the 2018 Summer Finals weekend. A regular split filled with rises and falls concludes here at Oracle Arena. Today, two teams fight for glory on the big stage while fans were having a blast at the tailgate where there were prizes galore and giant solo cups as we kick off Summer Finals weekend. Of course, the fans continue to make their way into the arena 30 minutes ahead of game time. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the NA LCS Countdown, where for 30 minutes we announce the Summer Split MVP and weigh the strengths of the teams on the big stage until the timer reaches 0, and we jump into the opening ceremony. We've got Azael joining us here. We need the extra analyst power for finals weekend, but how are you guys doing?
Doing great. So excited to be here.
Yeah, it's super cool to be here in Oakland, home Golden State Warriors. This is where LeBron loses in finals last 2 years. That's always cool to see.
Oh, it is. It's great to be in an arena like this, especially in the new franchise era, making use of the different orgs and the resources at their disposal. Mark, how you feeling? You've been kind of quiet so far.
I was outside a little bit.
Oh, so you were taking part in the festivities?
Yeah, I saw a lot of those up close, so I'm recovering.
Okay.
I don't get outside much, James.
All right,
fair
enough.
A lot out of me.
All right, to get a recap of the postseason, let's take a look at the bracket presented by Jersey Mike Subs. Tomorrow, Cloud9 challenge Team Liquid for the title of NALCS Summer Champion. Since they came up short in the semifinals, TSM and 100 Thieves compete in today's third-place decider, which could make or break teams' world's dreams. This is the last weekend that the offer code JMNALCS will earn you a Hextech chest or skin when you order at jerseymikes.com. So why not celebrate the Summer Finals weekend with free swag and a sandwich? A reminder how the champion points shake out. The winner of today's match will earn themselves 70 championship points, leaving the fourth-place team with only 40 points from the Summer Split.
Yeah, so this essentially means that if TSM wins, they don't play clutch in the first round of the gauntlet, and they move up to the next seed. So seeding implications in this third-place match.
Yeah, 100 Thieves goes to Worlds. If Team Liquid wins, they will be the final boss of the gauntlet if C9 wins tomorrow. It's all about pushing to join the teams who have currently locked their spot in the World Championship, which include Ascension Gaming, Gambit, Direwolves, KT Rolster, A Freak of Freaks, Flash Wolves, Team Liquid, and Fnatic. Sorry for the spoilers, but stay up on the news, ladies and gentlemen.
Why wasn't the spoiler warning at the beginning, James?
It's because you know I like to mess with people's heads.
If you're hardcore enough to know what a Freak of Freaks qualifying for Worlds means, then you probably didn't get spoiled by this graphic.
Yeah, very likely not. Alrighty, well, if today's match has you juiced up for more competition, a reminder that after the third-place decider, names synonymous with peak League of Legends, Void Boy, I'm a Cutie Pie, Skara, Yasuo, and Shifter will be competing in a show match on the big stage. Cheer them on as they face the Throw Machine, where Solo, Contracts, Matt join the likes of Freak and Pastry Time.
That team really went downhill. At that
I know, right?
We get to cast that match as well afterwards.
We do.
Or rather, you get to host the cast of the match.
I'm hosting the cast. The two casters
You're not a
are
caster,
actually
Analyst,
Mark and
desking.
Coming out of retirement for this, too. Must be a big one.
It's a big year, guys. It's a big day, big event. All right, well, as a primer to the brawl we're going to see in about 26 minutes, this week's Mic Check listens in on the last time that 100 Thieves and TSM faced off.
Can I get started? Started. 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 Started.
There's no flash, let's go. I'm gonna flash in, Ryu.
Okay.
I'm gonna flash.
Going Barris. Barris. Barris left.
We're okay. We got this. Pull in four.
Barris. Kill the Barris. I got Barris.
Stunning.
45 seconds.
Nice. Ali. Go on Ali. We're killing Ali, John. Nice. We're gonna flash out. We're doing this, Kelly. Let's go. No, pass Mundo. I'm holding down. Just run.
Yeah. Can't
You're on a ball.
Press the press.
I got it. Barris is healing ulti. Barris is dead. He's
Come ahead, put me in.
Help. Nocturne. Barris no flash.
I'm going Barris.
Keep going.
Keep going.
Go mid. Let's go mid.
Hey, we're on it.
Alistar. Just go Nelly. Slowly. Go on, Mundo, slowly. Go, Mundo. I'm slowing him. We kill. Nice. Alistar on flash. Barris flash. You win that. Go on Ash. Flash. Nice. Speeding us. Nice. Hit it. And. We did it. Yeah. Oh, baby.
An intense last meeting between these two teams. You saw the game time there ticking to 53 minutes. That's got to weigh in on these players, these teams, as they prepare for a 5-game series today.
Absolutely. That was kind of the start of TSM's run towards the end of the season. That was the last regular season meeting. We also remember 100 Thieves beat them in the first tiebreaker match at the end of week 9 as well. So it's been back and forth.
A lot of history building into this, rather. Ahead of playing in Oakland, Prawley was asked where Worlds implications fall in the pressures of today's match.
We've mostly been focusing the players on today because it is a bit distracting, the implications of tomorrow. So there's no plans as of yet. And really, we want everyone to be focused on, these games against TSM. But come tomorrow, we're going to be repping TL colors for sure. We're going to be using our full 6-man roster for the series. We'll be starting Rakara. And the thinking is almost the same as what we wanted to do during the TL series, where we have a few specific strategies that we want to use with him for game 1. And use Cody kind of as an information gatherer during game 1. So once we see how TSM plays, we can put the right AD carry in for game 2.
And I want to talk about the second part of that with the 6-man roster, because they technically had a 6-man roster last week too, but Cody Sun wasn't even in the studio. I did talk to Prawley, though. He expects to see Cody Sun at some point in this series, unless Rakara just runs away with it.
And he's in the venue. He's not at a hotel.
He's actually
yeah,
here.
I saw him walking
Mark,
around.
it's a short plane ride. I'm sure he could have made it.
Yeah.
I think 100 Thieves fans are going to be happy to hear that.
Oh, very much so. I'm excited to hear it myself because it means we're in for a competitive series, and the teams do have plenty of strategies, plans coming into this one. For more of a breakdown on the upcoming series, though, we're going to hand it off to today's casters. Pastry time, Kobe and Zyrene.
Thank you, Dash, and thank you, Oakland, for playing host to the summer finals this weekend for the 3rd place match. It's hard to understate the pressure on today's bot laner for 100 Thieves, or in this case, both of them.
Yeah, Rakara will be the one starting, like the desk said, and he had a really pretty bad showing against Doublelift last week, and it's a rude kind of welcoming to the NALCS because he had to play against Doublelift. Now he has to go up against Sven, and we saw he had negative 31 CSD at 15. He didn't really get played around, though. You see the jungle proximity is negative for him compared to his opponents. But 100 Thieves didn't play around the bottom lane anyway, so I don't expect him to get much help in this matchup either.
Yeah, it was actually very interesting what Prawley said there as well, that he's going to be an information gathering expedition here in game number 1. So maybe he won't get as many resources either, but if we do see Cody Sun as well, he hasn't had the best stats, so we'll have to see how it does turn out. Now, further than that, though, 100 Thieves, this is going to be a big match for them because they have a lot to prove as far as they're still a new organization. They're our most successful organization, and they want to get to Worlds, and they want to prove that they own that spot.
Certainly do, but especially since TSM, despite coming up short in the semifinals, have been steadily improving as their Worlds hopes hang in the balance.
Yeah, TSM were underdogs in all of their matchups. Up against Echo Fox, that went 5 games, and they came out on top. And then against Cloud9, which also went 5 games and could have gone either way. They were up 2-1, but they weren't able to close it out. But TSM, this was a split that during the halfway point, was TSM going to miss their first playoffs ever? The answer was no, and then they kept getting better and better as the split went on, and now they're in the 3rd, 4th place match just barely.
And a big part of that answer has been Bjergsen. And the difference between Bjergsen playing on Assassins versus Bjergsen the rest of the split, you can see right here, 10-2 for the team, much higher KDA. They've really found what is working for them now, and that's why they've had this big upsurge, in the standings, and they're trying to get to the top. Winning this game would give them a better placement in the gauntlet, and of course, this is the team that was built around Eyes on Worlds, so they want that spot just as much as 100 Thieves.
Yeah, and I love those stats of him on Assassins versus him not on Assassins. Also, the entertainment value of him being on Assassins goes way through the roof as well.
What the history of the team was always known about, but I can't wait to see which team earns the crowd's favor today. Until then, it's back to you, Dash.
Could not agree more, Zyrene. Those statistics there for Bjergsen seem very, very telling. Of course, that's no surprise that for a 4-time MVP and a 5-trophy holder, that when you put him in a position to carry or make plays, he can execute.
Yeah, I was looking at some stats last night as far as finals appearances for Bjergsen. He's played more NALCS finals games than anyone else. This is, of course, the first year. He hasn't been in the NALCS finals since coming over here, so he's still a legendary player, and he needs to show up if he wants to try and maintain some of that legacy.
Of course, yes. A lot of their success here in the late part of the season did come from him stepping up on the stage. He'll have to do it one more time in a best-of-5 today to come away as the third-place winners. We do have to step away, but after a quick break, Ovly announces the 2018 Summer MVP, and we comb through the win conditions for today's teams. As we go to commercial, here's a look at the story of a group of friends who follow a philosophy some of us know all too well. You can't end a day of league on a loss.
Rated T for T.
Do you think Svenskeren and Golden Glue will see time in this series? Or rather, what situation has to happen in order for them to get time in this series?
I think that it's super interesting, this specific series, because Golden Glue has actually been good against Bjergsen and against TSM.
I think there's a good chance that they're going to see some play. You know, if you're down 0-2, why not try it?
Putting in Golden Glue when they're already down and one more loss means they're out of the playoffs doesn't feel right to me.
Yeah. But I still think if you start Jensen Blobber and you get slammed 2 games in a row, not saying that's going to happen.
You would still put
but it would still be worth trying to mix something up.
Job is fine. We're gonna use the Fortune Sven from now. And let's get it, bro.
Stay around that time. Just be proactive and safe.
To put in context how important this game is, Golden Glue, his first game was in 2014. He subbed in for Scar on Team Dignitas. This is his 5th year as a pro, and this is the most important game of his life. Up against Bjergsen, down 2-1 in the semifinals.
Svenskeren, remember, was kind of booted off TSM at the start of the year. So this is kind of a Svenskeren redemption story as well.
Hey, I'm a flash in a class of my own, a disaster with thoughts overblown. I'm massacre average crap with a...
Welcome back, and hello, Oakland! Please join me in welcoming your Summer Split MVP, Doublelift!
Just deleted as a triple kill comes up for Doublelift. Wycliffe is very low as they enter in. A draw indeed as the guns come out. And Doublelift goes crazy with the rest of the team. But he actually pumped the stop button, gonna try and bomb on top of the fight. That shot rushing in. There's the ult to Doublelift, but Doublelift's still living. They need to kill the Kaisa, but Doublelift will He's still alive.
Doublelift, it's about damn time that you are taking this home.
Yeah, I've been waiting for this one for a while.
I mean, you have become one of the most recognizable players in the entire LCS. What does it mean to you now that you've finally taken this?
Well, every year, I guess, I've been feeling like, you know, maybe this is the year I'll get it. Maybe this is the year I'll get it. Then Rush got it, and then Bjergsen got it like 7 times in a row. And then I feel like, you know, there's really no one to blame. If I played better, then I would have got it. So, you know, this year, it was really hard. I got booted off the team. I got on a new team, a team with no record of winning anything. So, yeah, you know, it's just time for me to step up. So I'm really grateful for this chance. And, like, I couldn't have done it without any of my teammates. I feel like my teammates right now, they put a lot of faith in me, and they put a lot of their resources and trust in me. So, you know, I couldn't have done it without them.
And I mean, at the beginning of the year, you sent out that tweet that you were going to be the hardest working player in the scene. Where is that determination to be the best coming from?
I don't know, I'm just getting started.
Just getting started. Well, you say that, but whenever you take the stage, everyone's eyes are always locked on you, waiting for you to trash talk, waiting for you to make an amazing play. As you are right now, do you think you're the best player in NA?
Yeah, of course.
Earlier, you gave a shout out to your team. It is a team game, and you're just a part of it. You now have this new team and this entire org backing you up. So what makes Team Liquid different from anything else that you've been a part of?
I think before I joined this team, I was never really a part of a team. I was just a part of like a group of people who just wanted to, like, yeah, they had similar goals, but everyone had a different idea of how to get there. You know, we want to win, but like 5 people, 5 different ways of getting there. Our team, we have the same goal. We want to win. We all know that we're going to take the same path to get there. And so I feel like this team, everyone puts so much kind of effort in and so much respect for each other. We work through our problems, you know, we fight all the time, but like at the end of the day, I think we know like we're not going to get anywhere if we're not on the same page. And we're in the same boat together for a really long time. So we got to get there.
And you have back-to-back championships. Tomorrow, for the potential, you play Cloud9. How do you think that match is going to go?
I'm going to smash them.
Gonna smash him. Double up. Congratulations again on winning. Back to the desk.
Thank you very much, Avli, and congratulations once more to Doublelift, a much-deserved MVP. Feels like this one's been a long time coming. He kind of ran through the history of it himself, watching other people just slightly surpass him at times for this award. And I really think that that paints kind of the picture of how much it does mean for him to have been so close for so long and finally to get it.
Yeah, and I feel like for a long time, people have talked about, Bjergsen as the best NALCS player of all time. And I think Doublelift is starting to really check some of those boxes to get into that conversation or maybe be at the top of that conversation, winning an MVP. If he wins tomorrow, he would tie Bjergsen with 5 championships. So really just such an impressive career. And he does seem to keep on getting better.
And I think for this split in particular, you heard him talking about how many resources his team gives him. I think for this split, I don't think any team relied on a single player more and then succeeded as much. So he was the primary focus on the #1 team in the league.
He's still got a big matchup tomorrow to help cement that title and the legacy that he hopes to leave here in North America, though he claims he's just getting started. So I'd like to see how long he can keep that one running. Turning our attention back to TSM versus 100 Thieves. I want to know, on the big stage today, what are these teams' win conditions? And Jat, we're going to start with you.
Yeah, I got to do 100 Thieves for this one, and I think it's really important that they can get to 25 minutes with even gold, because that's where I think their communication strengths with Aframu can get them a victory, whereas that's where TSM starts to get a little bit weaker. To get there, power pick mid lane, Ryze and Malzahar are great for Ryu. I want Onda to play fast farming junglers. Trundle can work, but they're going to get a lot better to late game if they're doing something like Graves or Kindred. And please, 100 Thieves, pick blue side. Their record on blue side is so much better than on red, and I don't think they've utilized counter picks well at all this year.
Those are the thoughts for 100 Thieves. Mark, you had TSM.
Yeah, and it's not always about game day win conditions. Start hoping early on that Rakara's going to come in, and he's going to be starting. So there we go.
There it is. Check the first box.
Done for TSM. Here, give Bjergsen some agency. You heard about it on Assassins. I think Syndra is another champion that can call her own number and make a lot of plays, so that's always great. And Ryze would be one, but I want TSM to limit the 1-3-1 options. Anything that can split push against you, don't let, I think what a lot of people agree as 100 Thieves superior macro to get off the ground with something like a Ryze and a Gnar. I don't love the mages bottom. I think they can work, and against some teams that you're more disadvantaged against, I can see it, but I would actually prefer to see him on a late game carry so Sven can actually take over some of these games. And then finally ban Malzahar. It's just such a great neutralizer. I don't want to see Bjergsen getting taken out of the game.
Yeah, and I think one of the biggest questions coming into this series is how hard can Bjergsen carry, which is why it's so important to take away things like Malzahar and maybe even Galio and Zillion, champions that can somewhat neutralize him in the mid lane, because we've seen his stats on some of these assassins, on Aurelia, on these aggressive picks. He has been unreal, and if he can get going, he can take over the game solo.
Yeah, I mean, just look at that. Finds Stixxay, blows him up. And that's what you want to see from Bjergsen, is that when he is on a control mage and these kinds of things, and I think to this point, TSM synergy is still lacking. When you don't need to rely on someone to set up plays like these that we're seeing, it allows him so much more control over how the game plays. I love control mages as much as the next person, but I don't think TSM is functioning quite on the level where you're going to always want a team fight front to back.
Yeah, and I think for TSM to win this series, they kind of have to blow 100 Thieves out of the water. A big part of that would be Bjergsen getting really far ahead on an Assassin.
All right, well, so then I'm going to go ahead and just push that a little bit further to get some more concrete specifics on the idea of what happens when it goes late. We talk about the macro game, maybe superior macro game of 100 Thieves in 1-3-1, but we know that not all games end in a 1-3-1 split push. They can just come into a ball and fight 5v5, and in that sense, does TSM have the tools to stack up?
I think they do. I think their backline carry potential with Sven and Bjergsen is plenty, and I think 100 Thieves sometimes do struggle in late game team fights. The last time they matched, that's kind of where the game went, and so that's why I don't want to see the Swain right away, which feels a little bit more early game focused on snowballing, which TSM aren't great at to begin with.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like if it comes down to a 5v5 and you're looking at the carries, it's a marksman-focused game. You have Ricard on one side, Sven on the other. Who would you rather have?
I'll take Cody-san as well, because it is a 5-game series.
Door number 3.
Ricard is starting game 1. Prawley's already said that Cody-san can come in later in the series, unlike in the semifinals. So even though I think Sven is probably the best choice for late game AD carry, it's 5 people on both sides, and you got to be able to communicate. And that's where I think 100 Thieves has actually thrived in games where they're even and ahead at 25 minutes. They're 12-4, right? That's actually kind of crazy. And even when they're ahead at 20, still 13-7, and those are even or ahead. Some of those games are completely neck and neck.
Right.
And TSM, they've gone to a lot of late games that are even, and then you see Echo Fox killing their Nexus because TSM doesn't know how to recall the right people, and the communication falls apart. So that's where I think 100 Thieves actually wins late.
Yeah, the margin for error gets lessened and lessened and lessened when you get into those later stages of the game, and 100 Thieves has shown that they can show composure with Aframu at the helm in those moments. When it comes to the strengths of 100 Thieves, though, mid to late game shot calling was one of the things that Mithy actually cited going into his match.
When it comes to late game, mid to late game decision making, they're all very coordinated. I don't really know who's in charge of that, but it definitely feels like it's Aframu. And yeah, I think he's a great player. He's a great playmaker too, and it'll be exciting for me to play against what I would say is probably the best support in NA.
So alignment there from Mithy to what we think when it comes to the matchup in the shot calling perspective. But one other curiosity I have with 100 Thieves is while we talk about maybe Ryu's responsibility being neutralizing the mid lane, that means they're going to have to find advantages in bot or top. And so where is the answer for 100 Thieves? Where should they be playing?
I think they actually don't play super well to the top side. I think some days at his best when they give him some kind of counter pick and then they kind of let him go off on his own. And he's done that time after time this split. So I think he has the tools to do it himself, but I don't think the team necessarily will play around it.
And he can enable them playing through bot lane because oftentimes he's kind of that pressure valve on the top side of the map that allows them to get to the late game where Cody-san or Ricard or whoever could shine.
Yeah, and in game 1, I think they will be playing through top lane like they tried to do against Team Liquid. But throughout the series, I think they're going to be playing more through Cody-san unless the Ricard through topside works. And that's the thing with Someday is he can actually play both. I think the team works best when they're playing through bot.
All right, there you have it. With those factors in mind, who's going to come out on top here on our first day in the Oracle Arena? Down the line, Mark, we're starting with you.
I mean, we all talked about this on the dive a little bit. We'll see if anyone's changed their minds. I haven't. I stay consistent. I'm going 3-2 TSM.
3-2 TSM call, but it's a close series. Isaiah, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as Mark here. I'm going to say 3-2 TSM. I think Bjergsen is too strong in the mid lane. I don't think that you can shut him down in this series.
All right, Jat, what do you got for me?
Yeah, I'm the contrarian in this one because I think that it's too easy to forget that 100 Thieves has the Spring Split MVP, was second place in Spring Split, and also was a higher seed before the playoffs as the 3 seed in this. I'm taking 100 Thieves 3-2, even though I said that was only if they're starting Cody. After talking to Prawley, knowing that they're utilizing the 2 different looks of whether they're starting with Akara or Cody, I think it's going to be Cody for a lot of the series, and then I still think they can pull it out.
It was a factor in his decision. How did the idea of a Ricard versus Cody substitution situation factor into your guys' call?
For me, even the fact that they used Ricard all the way through semis, they didn't even bring Cody-san to the studio, that he wasn't even an option, tells me that there's some issues going on in the team, that they weren't even having him there as a backup plan, made me feel like they don't really want to play with him that much, or there's some issues within the team, and that kind of hurts my confidence in their play.
Especially in such a close series that, like, if you do have those kinds of problems coming up, like if you do lose first game, and maybe, 100 Thieves would be favored if they started with Cody, but they're not starting with him. And so for me, that's where the problem lies, is that there is still that first game where I think it actually is in TSM's favor pretty heavily.
Yeah, right. You talked about, I know it was for the Team Liquid C9 matchup, but that the idea that while you think it could be a close series, there's also the potential for, like, if one weakness is discovered and exploited, we could see things end very quickly.
Yeah, and to Azel's point, if things are blown up behind closed doors for 100 Thieves, then they could actually just get demolished by the experience of Bjergsen, Hanser, Sven, and Mithy on that stage.
Yeah, I actually don't think it'll be one of those series where something breaks. I think we're in for a really long series just based on how these two teams play, and that's why not having Cody Sun in from the beginning scares me.
All right, so you ready for 5 games then?
I'm always ready for 5 games.
You predicted it. I'm ready for 5 games. Hopefully everyone here is as well. With that, it's time for us to get down onto the stage, meet our competitors for the 3rd place match in the Oracle Arena.
Every game counts. No one wants to go on stage and lose.
Thieves is just a very standard team that plays for late game, plays for team fights. To beat them, we just need to be better at team fighting than them. We need to be better at engaging. We need to be better at mechanics and communication in team fighting.
So TSM, they seemingly just like to make map plays, and then Bjergsen on Calif, hella scary.
Winning yet again, a triple kill for Bjergsen.
I think winning the 3rd place match just gives a lot of momentum if we are to play 100 Thieves again in the Gauntlet. And that gives both confidence to us and obviously makes them more nervous going into playing us again.
Hello, Oakland! It is good to be back in the Bay. Hello, Internet, as well. Welcome to the 2018 NALCS Summer Split Finals Weekend. Awesome crowd. It's time to meet our 2 teams playing today. Up first, the Spring Split finalists. Give it up for 100 Thieves! Their jungler, Anda! In the mid lane, Ryu. Their bot laners, Rakara and Cody Sun. Voted by his peers as the best top laner in North America, it's Someday! And your Spring Split MVP, first team all NALCS support and birthday boy, it's Afromo! Battling them today is the winningest team in NALCS history. Give it up for TSM! In the jungle, Greg. NALCS 3rd team bot laner, Sven. Their support, Mithy. In the top lane, Hanser. And 4-time NALCS MVP, give it up for Bjergsen! Oakland, let's hear it one more time for TSM and 100 Thieves! Casters, take it away.
Thank you very much, Freak. My name is Pastry Time. Joining me is Kobe and Zyrene, and boy, oh boy, is this the way to kick things off here for NALCS Finals Weekend.
Super exciting being back in the Bay Area, watching North America's best teams battle it out on this stage. Definitely in for a good one.
Yeah, and you talk about TSM, Bay Life, the way that they started, right? Way back. We're talking 7-ish years, 8-ish years at this point. And TSM back in kind of home territory, I would say, is a really good feeling for them.
Yeah, as Freak said, one of North America's longest standing teams and most successful teams versus 100 Thieves, very clearly the most successful new organization, 2nd place in spring, 3rd place in summer, and this one is definitely going to be exciting.
Yeah, 2nd place in spring, potential for 3rd place here in summer, but also very, very close to going to Worlds in their freshman year, right? actually depends on who wins tomorrow or if they end up winning. So they're basically a best-of-5 decider at worst of going to Worlds.
But they'll likely have to play these guys again, so certainly a lot on the line. Even if you're just thinking ahead to, okay, we need to make sure things go well for the Gauntlet, but we know the teams are focusing on the match at hand. And I think, as you sort of mentioned there, Zareen, for TSM, they are a team that has always been known for winning, but not this year. And finally, on this sort of stage, they'll have a chance to prove it again.
And you mentioned the Gauntlet, Pastry. Both these teams know that even after this match, their work may not be done. 100 Thieves have a possibility of playing in it, depending on Team Liquid and Cloud9. And TSM, they want to win this match to get a better spot in the Gauntlet and, you know, better form going into that important competition.
Yeah, form means a lot. You heard Bjergsen talk about it. Third place match is a lot about momentum going into the Gauntlet for them. They can't qualify for Worlds off of championship points. They would have to go through the Gauntlet, and also skipping Clutch. Clutch is the team that beat them in spring, made them miss their first finals ever, and so you definitely want to miss that team and pass them or have somebody like Echo Fox take care of them ahead of time.
Yep, even though it is finals weekend here for both these teams, their work will likely not be done throughout the rest of the year, so we'll have to see what they show for us here. And I think it is interesting that the analyst desk kind of thought it would be such a close series because stylistically, these teams actually do feel quite similar.
Yeah, they do have very longish games, getting more towards the mid and late game, the team fighting. As they said themselves, engage is going to be very big. So in Champion Select, we are going to feel like